What happens in the dark will always come into the light. We are going to shed light on some messages in the case of Anna Kepner, who fatally passed away at the alleged hands of her own stepbrother on a cruise back in early November. Now, if you're looking for more details on that entire case, I have multiple videos which you can find on my profile. Once I hit 10,000 followers, I will be able to create playlists, so it'll be easier to find content and all related videos to specific cases. Until then, please just go to my profile. You can scroll down, you'll find it. You'll see the photos that clearly identify which videos are which. Now, moving forward, we are still very much waiting on an arrest in this case, which is frustrating because it seems to be a very cut and dry case of who did it. It's alleged the stepbrother. There's supporting evidence of that, but we don't have any charges yet. No arrest has been made. I don't know what they're waiting on. They could be waiting on more evidence to come in. They could be waiting on subpoenaed evidence to come in from phones from the cruise and such, to make sure that they have all their dots on a row. This is being handled by the FBI, so I don't doubt that the FBI is doing everything that they're supposed to be doing, okay? Let me just make that very clear. Now, with this case, there's already in process a custody dispute going on between Shauntel Kepner, who was Anna's stepmother, and Shauntel's ex-husband here. This is Thomas Hudson. Now, he is the father to all the children that are shared between him and Shauntel, all of Shauntel's children. She does not have any new children with her new husband, who's Anna's father, Chris Kepner. Now, due to this court case going on, it has actually given us some insight into what's been going on in the Kepner-Hudson homes and some proof of kind of evidence and what was happening. We have messages that have been released in the court records that are a part of this court filing, which they're currently still in the middle of proceedings. I also have uploaded those proceeding videos as well because they have been recorded. So we're going to read through these messages because it highlights the time of the incident that occurred on the cruise ship. So I will just read through these and give you the timeline. I think in the future, it's just going to take time for me to edit. I'm just going to make a video that kind of has some bubbles of the messages going back and forth. So if that's another way you want to consume that content, make sure you're following me. I will get to that. It just takes a little bit of time. So the first message we have is on November 8th, 2025. And this is Shauntel messaging Thomas. Now, a little bit of context. There are messages before. This is a 107-page document of messages, and it includes a lot of stuff all the way from prior to 2024. There is such a typical situation where co-parents are really having a hard time co-parenting and communicating. You feel the tension in the messages. But fast forward, now we see on November 8th, Shauntel messages Thomas Hudson. It states, emergency. I need you to call me ASAP. It's an emergency. Thomas replies to Shauntel, can you please send me a copy of all of Timothy's prescriptions so I have them? Now, Timothy, as I typically don't like to talk about minors, but he is the alleged stepbrother in this case that unalived Anna Kepner on the cruise ship. Shauntel replied to Thomas that he also takes allergy meds, singular. Thomas replies, thanks. Shauntel sent a message with the subject being agreement regarding the care and supervision of Timothy Hudson. Per the conversation with Devin, all parties agree that Timothy Hudson will be under the care and supervision of Devin Ziski. Timothy will reside with Devin at his residence until both parents provide written consent for him to live elsewhere. Both parents agree that neither may remove Timothy from Devin's care without the mutual written agreement of both parents. Both parents further agree that Devin will be granted temporary power of attorney and medical power of attorney for Timothy, allowing him to facilitate counseling, medical treatment, and the administration of any prescribed medications as needed. All parties agree that Timothy's location will remain confidential and will not be disclosed to anyone other than his parents and law enforcement authorities. This agreement will be printed, signed, and notarized with each parent and Devin receiving a copy of the finalized document. Thomas replied, "Understood, and I agree." Now, some context behind that message is the fact that Timothy, who's the alleged unaliving of Anna, needed to be removed from the home because he had other siblings in the home and there's other children there. Chris has other children as well. So it was important that they removed Timothy from the home of the other children for the safety of them, and he needed to be staying somewhere else. Now, Thomas Hudson has had his older son, who is now 19, I believe, in his care. So again, that would not have been an option because he had another child as well. So they needed somebody else to be able to have temporary custody of Timothy after this incident. Now on November 13th, Thomas messaged Shauntel asking, "Can I please talk to," and I'm just going to say B. That's the minor female child in the situation. Shauntel replies, "I spoke with B. At this time, she doesn't want to talk. I let her know that you care about her and that you love her." Thomas replies, "I want to hear it from her with everything going on. Sean, I need to hear her." Shauntel replies, "I understand where you're coming from, but I cannot force her to talk to you." Context: this is very common with majority of Shauntel's messaging previous to this, where she just does not let anybody talk to their father, and that she won't force them to. Thomas responds, "Since Timothy is no longer residing with you, are you willing to use his part of child support to go towards attorney fees, or at least send it to Timothy since it's his money for his care?" Shauntel replies to this, saying, "Please direct any questions or concerns to my attorney. Arrangements regarding support for Timothy are being handled, and Devin will receive the funds designated for his care." Thomas replies, "How is B doing with everything? Can I please call her?" He again reaches out another day later because he didn't get a response, saying, "How is B doing? Can I please talk to her?" Response again asking, "I need to at least know that you're alive and B is okay. Can I talk to her?" Shauntel finally replies, and part of this document is cut out, but basically saying that she spoke with B again, and at this time, she doesn't want to talk to him, but knows that he cares about her and that you love her. Thomas replies to this message, "That's great. Your attorney couldn't have worded things differently, or you changed it to leave Tim's part out. Thanks." Thomas replies to another message about parenting time. "I'll be at the racetrack at 6 p.m. tomorrow. Please let me know that you'll be there with B, and any meds she needs for the weekend. Don't worry about clothes. I will get some." And he replied again, just touching base to make sure you're going to be there. They intended to meet at a police department for the exchange, and this is the first time that the daughter B was spending time with him in a long time. And if you want to see this entire file of messages, you'll be able to see. Now, as well as that weekend, Thomas replies, "Per our parenting time, I want it known that you did not allow B to go on my weekend. Yes, I understand she's going through a lot, but it is my time. That being said, I deal with you, the parent, not your spouse." So the understanding seems to be that Shauntel did not wind up meeting with him that first weekend. And I believe the first weekend that he finally saw his daughter was on Thanksgiving. Shauntel replied, "B refused to get out of the car. I did not withhold her from your parenting time. The decision was made based on her emotional state." Thomas replies, "No, the decision was made by your spouse," closing the door and saying to get away. "Yes, she said she didn't want to, but she's going through a lot and I asked for your help to make it easier. Again, you're the mother. I deal with you. Your spouse has no rights. That being said, I will request that he not be present next meet since he is not capable of allowing the parents to handle the exchange." Shauntel replied to this message on November 21st saying, "I'm sorry she didn't want to go with you. And I know I had encouraged her to. I don't believe her reluctance had anything to do with Chris being there. She's simply been through so much lately with Anna's passing and Timothy being gone. The funeral was just last night and this is an incredibly difficult time for her. B will be doing counseling through DCF to help her cope with grief. And I'm hopeful she'll reach a place where she feels ready to spend time with you. I will continue to encourage her to go." Thomas replied, as stated, "I understand, but there is still a parenting plan in place. I am her father, as you yourself said. About Tim, we are the parents. We need to help our kids. I kept my mouth shut when you told me that you can't jeopardize your marriage for helping Tim, your son. You look scared tonight, and you need to know that my kids come before anyone. Even though I haven't been able to see them for almost 2 years, I'll never hesitate. See you in 2 weeks for the next meet. For B, I hope things are more civil and you, the mother, can speak for yourself. And your attorney explains to you how things are going to eventually go. Hope I can speak to /CB soon. Now, Thomas reached out a few days later on November 25th saying, how is B? Can I please talk to her? Shauntel replies, B is processing a lot right now and I'm keeping things calm for her. We will be working with her counselor to support her. I've given her your message and will continue to encourage her to talk to you. There was a reply from Thomas, but the way the messaging is, it seems like it was redacted. Shauntel replied to Thomas shortly after saying, hey, since the order doesn't list a specific time for pickup and drop off, I just wanted to check and see what time works best for the exchanges. Also, the parenting plan lists the holiday exchange in Titusville at Cracker Barrel, but with how busy it gets during the holiday and with everything else going on, everything else in context, I'm assuming because of all the media focus on them with the case of Anna, we can meet at the police department or the sheriff's. Let me know which one you prefer. Thomas had replied, okay, please understand when I get there. I understand she might not want to come, but I need your help with that. That means actually having her go with me this time. Do I have your word on that? Thomas needed to reach out again and say, please let me know as soon as possible so I can plan accordingly. Shauntel replied, I understand what you're asking and I will continue to encourage her to go. I've tried each time before and I keep trying. I'll do my best to support you both. Thomas replied, per the parenting plan, the choice is not up to her and that you're going to help me make it as easy as possible for her to go with me. I just need your help and word that we will make it happen. Shauntel replies, as I already said, I will continue to encourage her to go. I've tried each time before and I'll keep trying. I'll do my best to support you both. Then they kind of go into exchanging where they're going to do this exchange. And Shauntel replies on November 26th, per the parenting plan, Thanksgiving is listed without extended times or weekend language. All other holidays that include additional days specify start and end times. Based on that, Thanksgiving applies to the holiday day only. Which, so difficult. Thomas replied, so you are denying me access once again to B, even though we just agreed to tonight. Since this is what you are forcing me to do, our parenting plan specifies Thanksgiving only. I'll be there at 12:01 a.m. at the Cracker Barrel as specified in the agreement. I will then drop her off at 11:59 at the same location. I was just trying to make it easier for everyone because of the holiday. Please confirm you will be there to hand B off to me in accordance with our parenting plan. Shauntel replied, I'm not denying you access. Our parenting plan states Thanksgiving, which applies to Thanksgiving Day, and I'm following what's written. 12:01 a.m. and 11:59 p.m. isn't a reasonable exchange time. I can do a pickup around 7 a.m. and drop off around 9 p.m. Please let me know what time works for you. Considering he hadn't seen them in almost 2 years, there's also some discretion where both parents in a parenting plan can have flexibility. You don't, if both of you can agree to certain times, like that's fine, right? But there's also certain times where, yes, you stick to it, and other times where people just kind of pit each other against themselves and use the plan against one another, which is always sad to see. They wind up settling on the Cracker Barrel and the times that they're going to meet. Thomas did ask at the end of November, are you okay with B seeing Tim for a little bit today? This might be the last time that they get to see each other for a long time. It won't be long, just for a little bit. Shauntel replies, that is something that has to be discussed with DCF, so at this time I'm going with no. Thomas replies, why with DCF? We are the parents. I just really want to have them all together. It might be the last chance for a long time. Shauntel replies, I understand your point, but DCF is involved and I'm not comfortable with it at this time. Thomas replies, okay, it's important to me that they get to spend time together. DCF isn't an excuse for me as the parent, but you're their mom. I have to respect the decision. But that being said, can I please have the DCF person contact that is talking to B? Shauntel replies, as for the DCF worker, I can't give out their contact information without their permission, but you can reach out directly to DCF and they can contact you with the person assigned to B. Thomas replies, I understand that is why I was going to meet somewhere for them to see each other. I am honoring the agreement. That is the only reason I asked, and the only reason I have to go against my judgment is because of your decision. I will talk to DCF. They won't probably answer today, but I'll talk to the contact I have here that has been dealing with all of the sides. Shauntel then replies that she's at the exchange location. Thomas then messages Shauntel on November 29th saying, "So Devin called last night and spoke with you about B and needing therapy with B. I'm fine with that, and I can get my DCF contact here and try and get something set up. That being said, it will be over here so me and her can go together as long as you're willing." Shauntel replies that I've been requesting counseling for you and the children for the past year and a half, so I'm glad you are open to it now. The location needs to be reasonable for B and centrally located so she is not missing school or doing the long drives. Counseling is already arranged through DCF, but I will speak with my DCF contact to see what their recommendations are. I will update you once I have their guidance. Now, Thomas replied to this that, as stated a few times already in mediation, I said I was fine using the same therapist the kids already were familiar with, but you refused as soon as I agreed to it. Our attorneys were present for that. Also, as of now, that offer isn't standing anymore since you have continued to give false information to child support. They have now said that I am behind by 12,000 now when it was down to 8K. So they're taking more from me, even though, and then some of these words are redacted, blah, 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 getting reimbursement for the overage. Says I can't afford to take off work. And as I am the only one working, as you have said, I ask that you take into consideration to our kids and also our funds. If I lose my job, that leaves both of us with no money for bills. Also, you still have yet to give Devin money for Timothy's child support, and he's been in his care for 3 weeks at least. I will need proof that you provided that you have sent a payment for my records. I can take B and take care of everything until you get your home situation back on track, finding a place, a job, and the whole media circus away. Now, again, Devin is where Timothy is currently staying temporarily. So Thomas was asking that the child support he pays for Timothy essentially was going to Devin to provide for Timothy's expenses as he was under his care. Shauntel replies, I want to clarify the therapy situation so we're on the same page. In mediation, I agreed to use Amber. The kids were discharged from her services and she was fully booked. I asked that if she wasn't available, we find another therapist, and that's where you declined, which is why mediation stalled. My work and home situation are stable, and like you, I don't think our home situation is stable when your kid's under investigation by the FBI for unaliving his stepsister, allegedly. But okay. I can't keep taking time off. We need a plan that doesn't cause B to miss school or spend long hours driving. As for anything involving Devin, that is something he and I are handling directly. I'm open to working together on a counseling plan that works for B and is manageable for both of us. Thomas replies, I know that none of the kids are in school and have all their work at home. You told me that you haven't been working, so if you are, please specify. And I decline that the support is between you and Devin, as I am the only one providing the child support. I ask again for the proof of funds going to Timothy/to Devin. Please specify. Amber was not booked at the time that I contacted her. Now, a little clarification on the schooling situation, because this did come up in court, and that does obviously seem that the children were taking care of some school at home due to the media surrounding this case, but that the children who had already moved from their previous school because Shauntel moved in with Chris, they were asked to leave that new school after this incident because it was a private school, it wasn't public, but because of all the media and everything surrounding the case, the school did ask them to leave, which as a private school, they had every right to do. So they left their original home school because Shauntel moved with Chris, and then they were kicked out of that new school. So twice they were going to be uprooted from their education and their schools, which one of the biggest things when it comes to family court is what's in the best interest of the children and stability. So just a side note, I think that's going to show something when it comes to their case about the stability. Now, Thomas replied again to their messages. Can you please have B call me around 4 p.m. today so I can talk to her? Shauntel replies, this is on December 1st. I took some time off as any grieving parent would, and I would have since returned to work. My employment is not relevant to this discussion. B completed schoolwork at home for a short period due to everything going on, but she will be returning to school this week. My arrangement with Devin is between me and him. You do not direct how child support is used. I still have ongoing expenses for Timothy, including his insurance and medical bills, unless you are going to help with those. If so, I can send over the bills. Thomas replied, as per the parenting agreement, your work is actually, and if she is returning to school, please let me know what school. And parenting Timothy's child support, this will be the third time asking for proof that it is going to Devin. You carry insurance on the kids. If you can't handle expenses, then I can take care of the kids. Thomas also said, I have spoken with B's DCF contact. She has stated that she never said or stated that B should not see Timothy, that you are the one that has the say and decision with that. DCF has no say on that subject. It is up to me, you, and Devin. All kids have stated to me that they want to see each other. I believe it is good for them to do so. That being said, I believe that I keep it out of the public and not in the location of Tim's residence. So I ask again, please let it be okay for all three of the kids to see each other. It is in the best interest for them. You are the only one keeping them from doing so, as this weekend is my weekend with B. If you're going to allow it, let me know as soon as possible and we can come up with a good plan to make it happen. So it's a little bit of insight into what's going on, but there is some more information that I am aware of in text messages. So I will share that in another video. Thanks for watching as always. I will see you in the next one. Please make sure that you are following me, sharing, and liking. As always, stay safe.